Hey everybody, and welcome back to this week's episode of Flick News. Izola here with Flick Direct, and we've got a few things to discuss on some of the movie news that just came out last week. So grab your popcorn, sit back, relax, and let's get this started. Okay, so we just actually got some news this past week that Jake Gyllenhaal and Guy Ritchie are teaming up again, but it's not going to be like the super serious war movie, The Covenant. Some good news, and we kind of discussed something about this a little further back. But actually, Guy Ritchie is going to be directing Roadhouse 2. So this is why they're going to be working together. I'm actually really excited about it because Guy Ritchie just has a different way of doing things. I absolutely love his movies. I would probably say there have been a ton more hits than misses. And overall, they are just fun to watch. They're filled with action. The humor, it's just really witty. I love British humor. I know that, this isn't a British movie, but him being able to bring some of those little quips and things like he does in his other movies, I'm just really excited for, and I can't wait to see how this all plays. We also learned that Will Beall, who did Bad Boys, Ride or Die, is also going to be working on the script. So I think the two of them together are really going to be able to bring something fun and interesting to the table. You can definitely be sure that this is going to be loud, fast, chaotic. And if they actually film in the Florida Keys, which I know some bits they do, but overall they do have other places where they film. Yeah, they're going to definitely have to block off some areas. And they can't really do that because the Keys doesn't have really that big of a freeway or road. If you've ever been there, you know what I'm talking about. Maybe 2 lanes. Some places get up to 3 lanes, but not too much. So it'll be interesting to see what they're going to do, but I'm sure that they're going to film more of those scenes like off-site or in areas that aren't, really used too much or off-season. Now, again, this was just announced, so there's really no news on plot or additional actors/actresses who's coming back. I can probably say for almost all certainty that Conor McGregor's probably not coming back. I mean, the way it ended, yeah. I mean, unless if we're changing just the type of, movie instead of just action movie, add a little fantasy spread in there. But, who knows? I mean, crazier things have happened in Fast and Furious movies. So, we'll have to wait and see. But, just be ready for a wild, chaotic ride. And if I hear anything else, I'll definitely let you guys know. In other news, and I'm not quite sure how this didn't pop up on my radar because I'm a pretty, well, I would say old school fan of Pride and UFC. I don't really watch it like I used to, but old school, yeah, definitely for sure. I watched a lot of that stuff. So I heard that Dwayne Johnson and Benny Safdie, I'm probably messing up that name. I apologize so bad. Are teaming up to make an A24 film about Mark Kerr. And he was actually a pretty big UFC fighter back in the day. Contract disputes, things like that. Actually went back to Pride fighting, which was not octagon style. It was more of like your normal boxing ring style, but it actually follows more mixed martial arts as opposed to just Muay Thai and boxing. So, I mean, UFC kind of changed things a lot. And then, of course, then they went to more. It used to be you could have a lightweight almost fight a heavyweight. Classes didn't really exist too much. But, if you were just this tiny little thing doing some jujitsu, you could really take the big boys out. So it's kind of like Mike Tyson's knockout when you see your character fighting, what was it, Butterbean? Butterbee? Is that his name? Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot. No, that's not who it was. That's a real fighter. Good grief. Anyway, I'm getting way off topic. Anyway, so Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is actually going to be playing Mike Kerr. This is a lot different from some of the things that he's done. And watching the trailer, I would say you're seeing a little more of a realistic, oh, I don't want to say side to him, but his acting is actually better than I had expected. I think one article actually said that if it does well, this could put him up for some type of Oscar nomination. I don't know about that, but what the trailer showed did show some really good performance. So I'm very curious to see how this goes, but it looks like it's going to follow his career. And I don't know how far it goes into, but it does definitely lead up to the Mark Coleman fight. And they used to be besties. Don't know if they were besties afterwards or what happened after that, but I'm sure it's going to kind of fill in any gaps. I mean, I could look it up, but I am just very curious to see where this movie goes. Also, Emily Blunt is actually going to be in this as well. He plays Kerr's girlfriend, then wife. I don't know when they got married, but eventually she became his wife. So she will be in that movie playing his girlfriend slash wife. And if you're expecting something like fun little Disney Jungle Cruise, no, you're not going to get that out of this one. So, we'll just have to wait and see what this movie is going to be all about timeline wise. But I'm very curious to watch this and see how they portray Mark Kerr for sure. I definitely recommend watching the trailer. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Do you guys watch UFC? Are you into fighting movies? I think we all like a little bit of action here and there, but this is going to be more of like a biopic in a sense, which I'm sure they're going to also take some liberties. But if you know anything about fighters in general, their lives definitely are interesting. A lot of drama and action in general, how they were brought up, things like that. Just some of them had some rough lives. So I think that kind of opening the doors to all of that will be pretty interesting to see and kind of learning more about Kerr's life. So I'm looking forward to it. Next, it looks like we're getting another possible reboot of an 80s favorite 80s, popular 80s television show. And I'm a little on the fence about this one. I tried to go back and watch the 80s show and whew, yeah. You know how some things just don't hold up very well? Well, this one, it was a little rough to get into, but maybe that's because it was literally season one that I started with. Anyway, Joseph Kosinski, yes, Kosinski, is actually signing on to make the first Miami Vice movie since 2006, and that starred Colin Farrell and Jamie Foxx, which I actually liked the casting for that. I thought that they did a pretty darn good job, with Crockett and Tubbs for that. And their wit together did actually work. Again, I think it all comes down to the directing and the script. You can have some great actors in a movie and just the script just does not work. There's only so much the actors can do. And then also if they have to take whatever direction they're getting from the actual director, and then also what the studio wants, sometimes it's just set up for failure immediately. But speaking of script, it's actually coming from Dan Gilroy, so I think that we should have something pretty solid. And Kaczynski's not a terrible director, so I think that this could be a lot of fun. There's no word on actors yet. Again, this is very early in the works, even though they have been working on the script and how they want the premise of the movie to be for a while. I think now that they finally have where it's going, they can start looking into who they want to cast in it. And hopefully they'll get it right because, I mean, the whole premise of the show, again, it's another Florida type of location, unless you can't really change that. It's called Miami Vice, so can't change that. Also, just the actors who need to play that. I mean, there are a lot of guys that can do this that'll be really good, but it needs to be fresh, it needs to be new, it needs to be modern in order to get everybody on board. Even though I would love to see the horrible 80s clothing, like sometimes you just want that to come back, like loafers with no socks and stuff, and then just the bright colors, like it just, I would personally love that, but unless if you're going to do this like a, you know, in the past kind of thing, origins, I mean, you could, but I say just make it modern. But I have to say, with Kosinski's directing style and Gilroy's brains, it will definitely be a wild ride for sure. And hopefully, whatever they've got on paper does come out the way they want or hope on the big screen. So stay tuned. Once I hear more information on that, I will definitely let you guys know. And finally, it looks like we are getting another Now You See Me, good grief, movie. Can you believe that it's been 10 years since we have seen the last one? If you even did see it. I think they're a lot of fun. I like magic movies, you know, I think they're a lot of fun. I like when you don't know how the illusion is made. That's the whole point of magic. I don't really want to know the answers to the trick. But it's just, you know, it's kind of like the Ocean's 11 movies, but with magic. So I was very happy to hear that another one's coming out, even though I'm not like the biggest Jesse Eisenberg fan. I know I've said this before. There's just, I think, especially with him playing Lex Luthor, that just, I didn't like him before, but you know, he's actually quite, I like him in these movies. It works. And it could also be because of the ensemble cast that really helps. You know, you have Isla Fisher, you have Woody Harrelson, Dave Franco. So, you know, that could also help. And, you know, even Morgan Freeman's supposed to be making an appearance on this as well. So, yeah, I mean, this could be a lot of fun. And again, magic. Who doesn't like a good, you know, fun magic trick with money being stolen and stuff? So this one is actually called Now You See Me, Now You Don't, I believe. I got that right? Yeah, Now You See Me, Now You Don't. And of course, again, another magical heist. Sounds really funny to say. This is not a fantasy movie, Izola. Come on. They're going to go on another heist. And this time they're actually teaming up with some new illusionists. They're going to steal a big old diamond, but apparently also, whilst doing that, taking down a criminal empire. So, you know, it's kind of got a little bit of a Robin Hood feel to it too. Steal, take down a criminal empire for the good of the people. I don't know. But, you know, the trailer really gives, you know, some fun little shots of what's going to be happening in this movie. Having said that, though, don't worry, it doesn't give away too much. You know how I am with trailers and spoilers. They give it all away, and then the movie's complete boring bleh, because everything was in the trailer, so you knew what was happening, except maybe for like the last 10 minutes. So this one, at least, don't have too much. I think we can definitely expect high stakes magic. Like I said, it's supposed to be all about the illusionists and how they're going to, you know, pull off these heists. So we're going to have some team ups. Hopefully the two illusionist teams work well together. And then really over the top stuff. I love it. I just think it can be a lot of fun. And hopefully the plot is different enough to where it still piques our interest. Again, I'm only going based off of the trailer. It looks fun, but, you know, looks can be deceiving. Again, magic. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But don't worry, you don't have to wait too long. The movie actually comes out November 14th. So if I hear anything else on it, I'll let you guys know. But I think we should probably just not talk about it if anything does come out, because, you know, again, we like surprises. That's the whole point of the movie. Just watch the movie, see what happens. And with that, this concludes this week's episode of Flick News. Please be sure to like and subscribe to all of our channels so you never miss out on any entertainment news. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye!